Now read along as the directions for Part C are being read. Part C. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear several short talks. After each talk, you will hear some questions. The talks and the questions will not be repeated. After you hear a question, read the 4 possible answers in your book and choose the best answer. Then, on your answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer you have chosen. Here is an example. On the recording you hear, "Listen to an instructor talk to his class about a television program."
I'd like to tell you about an interesting TV program that'll be shown this coming Thursday. It'll be on from 9 to 10 p.m. on Channel 4. It's part of a series called Mysteries of Human Biology. The subject of the program is the human brain, how it functions and how it can malfunction. Topics that will be covered are dreams, memory, and depression. These topics are illustrated with outstanding computer animation that makes the explanations easy to follow. Make an effort to see this show. Since we've been studying the nervous system in class, I know you'll find it very helpful.
Now listen to a sample question. What is the main purpose of the program? In your test book, you read, A. To demonstrate the latest use of computer graphics. B. To discuss the possibility of an economic depression. C. To explain the workings of the brain. D. To dramatize a famous mystery story. The best answer to the question, "What is the main purpose of the program?" is C. To explain the workings of the brain. Therefore, the correct choice is C. Now listen to another sample question. Why does the speaker recommend watching the program? In your test book, you read, A. It is required of all science majors. B. It will never be shown again. C. It can help viewers improve their memory skills. D. It will help with coursework. The best answer to the question, "Why does the speaker recommend watching the program?" is D. It will help with coursework. Therefore, the correct choice is D. Go on to the next page. Now we will begin Part C with the first talk.
Questions 39 through 42. Listen to a talk given by the Dean of the School of Education.
Community service is an important component of education here at our university. We encourage all students to volunteer for at least one community activity before they graduate. A new community program called One-on-One helps elementary students who've fallen behind. You education majors might be especially interested in it because it offers the opportunity to do some teaching, that is, tutoring in math and English. You'd have to volunteer 2 hours a week for 1 semester. You can choose to help a child with math, English, or both. Half-hour lessons are fine, so you could do a half hour of each subject 2 days a week. Professor Dodge will act as a mentor to the tutors. He'll be available to help you with lesson plans or to offer suggestions for activities. He has office hours every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. You can sign up for the program with him and begin the tutoring next week. I'm sure you'll enjoy this community service, and you'll gain valuable experience at the same time. It looks good on your resume, too, showing that you've had experience with children and that you care about your community. If you'd like to sign up, or if you have any questions, stop by Professor Dodge's office this week.
Number 39. What is the purpose of the talk? Number 40. What is the purpose of the program the Dean describes? Number 41. What does Professor Dodge do? Number 42. What should students interested in the tutorials do? Questions 43 through 46. Listen to an instructor in a business class.
I hope you've all finished reading the assigned chapter on insurance so that you're prepared for our discussion today. But before we start, I'd like to mention a few things your text doesn't go into. It's interesting to note that insurance has existed in some form for a very long time. The earliest insurance policies were what were called bottomry contracts. They provided shipping protection for merchants as far back as 3000 BC. In general, the contracts were often no more than verbal agreements. They granted loans to merchants with the understanding that if a particular shipment of goods was lost at sea, the loan didn't have to be repaid. Interest on the loans varied according to how risky it was to transport the goods. During periods of heavy piracy at sea, for example, the amount of interest and the cost of the policy went up considerably. So you can see how insurance helped encourage international trade. Even the most cautious merchants became willing to risk shipping their goods over long distances, not to mention in hazardous weather conditions, when they had this kind of protection available. Generally speaking, the basic form of an insurance policy has been pretty much the same since the Middle Ages. There are 4 points that were salient then and remain paramount in all policies today. These were outlined in Chapter 6 and will serve as the basis for the rest of today's discussion. Can anyone tell me what one of those points might be?
Number 43. What is the purpose of the instructor's talk? Number 44. Who were the first insurance contracts designed to protect? Number 45. What does the instructor say determined the cost of early insurance policies? Number 46. What does the instructor say about current insurance policies? Questions 47 through 50. Listen to a talk on the radio about a research project.
Located at the NASA Research Center in Iowa, there is a 5,000-gallon vat of water. And inside the tank is an underwater treadmill designed by Dave Van Neumann, an aerospace engineer. For 4 years, Neumann observed scuba divers as they simulated walking on the Moon and on Mars on her underwater moving belt. She wanted to discover how the gravity of the Moon and of Mars would affect human movement. To do this, Neumann attached weights to the divers and then lowered them into the tank and onto the treadmill. These weights were carefully adjusted so that the divers could experience underwater the gravity of the Moon and of Mars as they walked on the treadmill. Neumann concluded that walking on Mars will probably be easier than walking on the Moon. The Moon has less gravity than Mars does. So at lunar gravity the divers struggled to keep their balance and walked awkwardly. But at Martian gravity, the divers had greater traction and stability, and could easily adjust to a pace of 1.5 miles per hour. As Neumann gradually increased the speed of the treadmill, the divers took longer, graceful strides until they comfortably settled into an even quicker pace. Neumann also noted that at Martian gravity, the divers needed less oxygen. The data Neumann collected will help in the future design of Martian spacesuits. Compared to lunar spacesuits, Martian spacesuits will require smaller air tanks. And to allow for freer movement, the elbow and knee areas of the spacesuits will also be altered.
Question number 47.
What did Newman change so that the divers could experience different gravity levels?
Question number 48.
Why will Martian spacesuits be designed differently from lunar spacesuits?
Question number 49.
What happened to the divers at Martian gravity when the speed of the treadmill was increased?
Question number 50.
What is one way that the design of Martian spacesuits will differ from lunar spacesuits?
This is the end of Section 1. Stop work on Section 1 now.